Good morning from Carlsbad, B2BMX. Lots of people still filtering in and registering. We got in yesterday, we set up the place, and pro tip, get here early on day one for breakfast. First dibs at the parfait. Why don't you come with us and we'll show you the... So I've been coming here 8 years now. This is my 8th year, but first year in California. A lot of the same companies that have been doing this for the last decade are here. Some have changed names. Some have merged. So it's really exciting to see how this industry continues to evolve and to take shape with the injection of AI and the new buyer journey. Lots of folks still getting set up over here. And just around this wall is where Demand AI is set up. We've got the team here with us. Really stoked for day one. The keynote's going to start soon. We'll see you after breakfast. Hey guys, Tommy Heffernan, CRO of Demand AI, and I'm joined here by Charlie Wife, our co-founder and global CRO, also a friend of mine and somebody I worked with at previous companies, and it's great to be back together. I just found out last night this is actually Charlie's first B2BMX, which is wild considering how long you've been in the business. But I think a big part of that has been your focus and prowess in the Asia Pacific theater as well as Europe. So you've been to GITEX, you've been to the IAAs. Talk to us about how your expectations are from the international event space and what you're looking forward to here.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to the, getting to talk with a lot of the US clients, and something I've never really had a big opportunity to do. Give them a lot of information when it comes to how we're running campaigns internationally as well, and how we can kind of, expand US markets outwards as well. So yeah, no, I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, that's great. Now, when you walk into this room, obviously you see a lot of players in the space that we have, I think, collectively sold for, sold up against. And what are some of the things that you look forward to in 2026 as we talk about competitive distinctions and building for value and what today's marketers and tomorrow marketers are looking for?
I mean, I think the conversation's always been about lead quantity, lead quality, and now it's going to be more about interactions, events, and then also how people interact with content as well, and actually getting the insights into that. I'm really looking forward to seeing what some of our competitors are doing as well. See if we're up to par. See if there's anything we can be doing better.
Yeah,
it kind of gives us that opportunity.
That's great. We had a conversation last night around the importance of data, and data has always been king. And I think with the urgency that is behind AI and the deployment of AI across pretty much every org, you asserted last night that data is still king. How are we using it here as it pertains to new types of data like Answer Engine and other things that are different in the ways that we've typically used intent data?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem people face is people not being able to link all of this information interaction back to who that person is or where they're working. Generic information isn't enough. If you want to be more accurate in the way you talk to people, then you need to know who they are. And the only way to do that is to have good data.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thanks, Charlie. We're excited to be here, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Everyone just had lunch, and that's usually helpful because a lot of people come in early on Monday morning. They haven't eaten much on the plane. So you'll see the mood on Mondays definitely rise a bit after everyone's had some food, which is really good. As I shared earlier, lots of brands coming to market with either a new name altogether or new products that really speak to the AI integrations they've made, as well as how they're improving and optimizing some legacy processes that the industry has been beholden to for 2 decades at this point, right? But there's no shortage of leaders here. Definitely an array of booths in terms of style. It looks like a couple people have gone Hollywood on us. If you look over there at Influ 2, and then some more traditional booths. Saw some keynotes this morning. Saw a couple sessions. One from an old mentor of mine, which was really cool to see. And we're back. Tommy Heffernan with Demand AI here, day one at B2BMX in Carlsbad. I am joined by my friend and also our VP of Global Partner and Channel Sales here at Demand AI, Eric McClough. Thank you for joining us today, Eric.
Appreciate it, Tommy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really cool, and it's kind of full circle for me. Eric and I first cut our teeth in this industry 13 years ago together. Eric pursued his career there at that company for well over a decade.
Yep.
And you wore a lot of hats, right? You saw
did.
2 exits. You sold direct into clients. You worked with agencies. But recently, in the last several years, you've been tapped to become a master and a subject matter expert across the channel space. And I'd really love to talk to you today about how you've seen the emergence of the importance of that, right, as it pertains to the hyperscalers, right, and as it pertains to the holistic approach for some of these large enterprise companies.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't want to speak too highly of myself. I think you gave me a lot of credit calling me master of that, but it's definitely something that I think is really important. Focused my career on over the last several years, like you mentioned. But working with some of the largest groups in this space, the AWSs of the world, following trends that we're hearing all over the place in terms of the percentage of overall deals that get closed through the channel org. I just really felt that there was a void in the space in terms of demand generation, market awareness, going after those types of partnerships and those types of deals.
So about a month ago, you had shared something with me that I found really fascinating. And it was the idea that as partners, vendors, all of these companies that are looking to get involved in the channel space and support the hyperscaler, it would be your position that there has been some type of neglect below the hyperscaler, and that the support and the resources for the partners, right, for the VARs, for the resellers has been neglected. And I know that was a big thing for you in coming here and building out an architecture that can actually help support that. So I'd love for you to talk to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with these partnerships, a lot of times come unique KPIs. They're looking to achieve a lot of different initiatives, and sometimes the traditional way that they've been going about demand generation or market awareness don't necessarily check all the boxes that they really need to. At the end of the day, everyone's looking for closed won business, but how do we get there? But working backwards from that, from pipeline, sometimes it's as simple as looking to drive unique traffic to a partner's page within a marketplace to, again, leverage some of the credibility from the large partner, but also show how you come in and uniquely tackle a problem, alongside or in conjunction with that partner. But again, I think that the focus for a lot of B2B media companies remains with the core marketing teams, and there's quite a big void in terms of trying to help figure out how to check some of these boxes. Like I said, these unique. So it takes you really want to take a step back and listen, because now you have 2 different buying groups, 2 different decision-making groups coming in, sometimes with their own set of wants and needs for the campaign. And you have to get a little bit creative to put together a campaign plan, a media mix that's going to achieve the goals of both groups and make it repeatable. So yeah, that's where I've been really, again, focusing my time and energy, kind of studying up on the org. And, if we listen to some of the stats out there, the better part of 70% of B2B tech deals are being sold through the channel. A number of times, I can't wait to continue this ride here. One of the main reasons that I decided to, make the move after so long at my previous company is how different the solution is, and how robust the reporting is, giving us the ability to, again, get creative with these campaigns that we can put together. Because it's not as simple as working with one group with one set of goals. Right. So it does take quite a bit of outside of the box thinking. This new solution, this new way to go to market, I really believe gives us the ability to be creative, and looking forward to helping the partner or some of the same groups that I've been working with, hopefully, over the last several years, and certainly a lot of others.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, Eric. Hey guys, if you haven't had a chance, connect with Eric on LinkedIn. He's a big player, a big power player in the channel space, and all around great guy. So thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate that.
All right. Oof. Big first day. The hat's on. We can take a deep breath. It was a lot of fun, a lot of good sessions, a lot of good traffic at the booth, a lot of great conversations, interviewed a lot of different people, leaders within the space and some leaders within Demand AI. We are now headed to the welcome reception on the lawn. I did see a band setting up there, so I'm excited for some music. I'm also starving, so let's go check it out. Okay, that's vibey. Sounds like 80s yacht rock. It's definitely feeling the San Diego vibes right now. So, oh wow, I see sliders. All All right, now I'm starving. I'm gonna go eat something, okay? I need a little energy, and we'll be back to you later. See you tomorrow. Welcome back. It's day 2 in Carlsbad at B2BMX. I'm Tommy Heffernan, CRO of Demand AI. And we're just going to give you a look at the energy and the amount of people here this morning. It's just before 10 a.m. They've got breakfast out. I think everyone had a relatively early evening. The open reception was pretty nice, foods, drink, and it looks like people are energized today. So lots of good sessions. I know everyone's excited to hear OpenAI talk about. I think the title of the session is "You Can Just Build Things," and how true that is. But yeah, really excited for more traffic. Typically speaking, day 2 is the biggest day, right? And for those who are just practitioners attending without the sponsorship of their company, this is a really big day for them. And so we expect to have, in some cases, 2 to 3 times the amount of people we had on day 1. So really excited to see the increased engagement. And yeah, we'll talk to you later. A lot more foot traffic today. And I was able to grab an old friend of mine, an entrepreneur, Scott Stringfellow. Thanks for joining today.
Thanks for having me, Tommy.
Yeah. So some historicals here. Scott and I met, 14, 15 years ago?
Yeah, I guess so.
By way of Hoboken, New Jersey.
Yep.
Yeah, and I grew up with your wife, actually, because my sister and your wife are best friends.
That is correct.
Yeah. So what started as a barstool conversation at a local pub in Hoboken was actually the beginning of me getting into this industry.
That is correct. Yeah.
So you're responsible for this mess.
Welcome.
So, it probably was 60 days later that I was coming on as an inside sales rep at Madison Logic, and you were one of the original guys there, and you kind of took me under your wing, which I'm forever grateful for. And we parted ways, and the old guard, of course, went in separate directions. And you had an interesting trajectory, right? Because you actually were very interested in what was the very beginning of the SaaS movement, right? I mean, or at least a couple years into it.
It was definitely already going. I probably should have, I caught the tail end, but yeah, now things have changed pretty dramatically.
When you were in TV attribution, you were in CDPs.
Mobile marketing, then went into attribution for TV, then went into a data management platform, and then spent the last 5 years in multi-touch attribution for B2B marketers.
And now, right, you've launched your own consulting,
Yep.
right? And I know a lot of that was fueled by a real passion of yours, which is, I think, the art and craft of being a professional operator, but
Yeah.
more so that the playbook that worked so well, or at least supposedly worked so well for so many years, was flipped completely on its head.
Overnight, completely stopped working. How sales and revenue leaders were generating pipeline totally stopped, and recognized that someone's got to figure this out. So I decided to leave and start my own consultancy where I'm helping sales and revenue leaders make sense of what's going on with AI, build strategies that help them start to build pipeline, automate all the stuff that sales reps don't want to be doing, like account research, all the targeted outbound, and then let them focus on what they want to do, which is actually closing deals.
Yeah.
So come in, build the strategy, and then actually implement the strategy, and then stay on as kind of a managed service where I run it basically as a fractional AI sales guy, and that's been going great. Have a lot of fun too.
That's pretty cool, because I think that, and I can't speak for all companies, but it would appear that most companies don't need more in their tech stack. They need to understand how to optimize their current tech stack, and they just need more quality at bats. And reverse engineering the algorithm for that, right, isn't just throwing more activity and throwing more things into it, right? It's like, how many signals can we ingest before it becomes a diminishing return, right? It's like, what direction is it sending us in?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a signal-based thing. And I think cold outbound or outbound in general is just really, really difficult because it's just become so much noise that it's really hard to break through. But if you do break through with being highly relevant, knowing the situation you're walking into, the messaging that's most likely to resonate, you're going to have a much better shot. It's still a numbers game to a certain degree. It's not the send 5 emails a day that are highly personalized isn't going to cut it. You're still going to have to do some level of scale.
Yeah.
But the goal is getting people when they're feeling an acute amount of pain that, you know, means that you can solve their problem.
Yeah.
And then coming up with messaging that is relevant to them so they know that there was a little bit of research done before this email was sent.
So you're definitely an interesting guy because you didn't start your own thing because of the massive safety net that doesn't exist with that, right?
Yeah.
But this passion that and it's a passion from experiencing all of these industries that kind of run in parallel, right?
Yeah.
And knowing that you wished you had something like this and someone to come in and make sense of all of this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing is like, I said this 3 or 4 times last night to people throughout the night, with the advancement of technology and how much more accessible it's become to non-technical people. I feel like there's this like massive pendulum swing over to the side of like people just needing human connection. And the idea that like you can go to ChatGPT and ask it all the questions, but people make decisions emotionally and then rationalize those decisions with logic. With ChatGPT and everyone, like you've got like answers at your fingertips where like people are getting the logical answer that they're looking for, but they're missing out on that like emotional decision that they end up making. And they feel like that they need that human connection to make that decision. So having somebody that can like lead you to whatever that thing is, for me, it's like, how do you solve your pipeline problems using technology? For you guys, it's how do you, generate leads that have more intent data so that, like, okay, if I'm going to call this person or reach out to them, what am I going to actually do?
That's fair. And I think it's what everyone's feeling right now. So just quickly, your company's called New GTM, New Go-to-Market, right? Yep. And I would assume that you've got product market fit across certain company sizes and stages, right? You're working with a handful of companies right now, and whether it's just helping them on a project-based level or working more as a fractional CRO or builder. What do those companies look like, shape and size-wise, right? Where are you fitting in right now?
It's funny, it's like the demand is there kind of across the board, but I think the ones that are in a really, really good spot are ones that have a developed sales and marketing motion. So like if I'm going to come in, having a counterpart there that runs sales, having a separate person that runs marketing so that I can understand what they're doing. And then my strategy is built into what they're already doing. What do those companies look like? I think you're looking usually around like 100 people to 300 people. And mostly in the software space. I'm seeing some services, but
Cool. All right. Well, you heard it here. If you're in the software space, the services, or you're a company like many with 50 to 300 employees that they have all the tools they need, but they need help optimizing those technologies and putting them to use. It's where the rubber meets the road ultimately, that the companies see these ROIs on all the tools they're using. So Scott, thank you for being here today. Appreciate you, brother. It's great to see you.
Absolutely.
Right, thank you. Hey guys, we're back. It's midday, day 2 here at B2BMX in Carlsbad. We just had a really good lunch, met with some customers and some agencies, and getting ready for the afternoon. A bunch of good sessions lined up for that. And then tonight, everyone usually lets loose and has their dinners and drinks and a lot of fun. I wanted to catch up with the Demand AI team and see how we're getting on with the conference here. Let's go check out the booth and ask some of the guys. Hey guys, how we doing? Great. How's the conference going so far? So you just had a really good conversation.
We did, yeah.
Okay. Who was that with?
That was with Zscaler.
Zscaler.
Yeah.
Okay. How'd they get here?
They were recommended.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah.
Okay. In the name of PII, we can't release the recommendation name there, but Eric, how's it going for you?
Going good. Just getting ready for this next networking session.
Nice.
We meet some new faces and tell them all about us.
Good. All right. It looks like Courtney is speaking with the client, so all is well here. Charlie, we had a good lunch. Yeah, it's awesome. And he didn't record himself at lunch. Yeah. All right, we'll see you later. Welcome back. It's the end of day 2 here at B2BMX in Carlsbad. I'm Tommy with Demand AI, and I'm joined by Courtney McCombs. Hello. Courtney's our VP of Strategic Accounts, and it also happens to be Courtney's birthday today. So a very happy birthday to you. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah. The
For
team.
CMO for making it super special. You guys are awesome.
Big shout out
My
to
team.
Lauren. So you live essentially one town over from where I grew up, right?
Yeah.
You're in Chatham.
Yeah.
I grew up in Mendham, and you also spent a lot of time in the Boston area and Massachusetts in general, where I spent time as well. But you've been in this industry for quite a long time, traditional media, demand gen. As the VP of Strategic Accounts, one of the things that I've seen you do really well is engage a room full of marketers across multiple business units, right? Handling multiple clients, right? And
Yeah.
being able to have those really strategic conversations. And I know that, it's a pretty simple equation. You don't get this far being transaction. And someone like you have to have a passion for this and for people and for problem solving to be around. So I know that you manage some of the larger relationships as it pertains to our customers as a company, right? So talk a bit about what fuels you and what about that is so important.
Yeah. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with people because I am a people person. So I feel like connecting with people on a personal level, but also respecting the fact that like people are under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Marketers that we call on and the agencies that we call on are under immense pressure every day. And, making changes in their strategy is oftentimes a risky endeavor for them. So really wanting to get to know them as people, but also sit in their shoes and understand, how can we actually create a solution that,
Yeah.
that helps you look good at work, helps you actually get promoted,
Yeah.
or honestly not get fired. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a tenuous time in the industry. So I think that, what I like is having those deep conversations. I am a very analytical person.
Yeah.
A lot of marketers really like to get into the weeds on things, and I like to do that with them. So just really asking, it's kind of like, sales 101, like a lot of the stuff that I started early in my career, which is ask a lot of questions. You don't want to just show up and talk about everything you want to talk about, but you actually want to understand from that person what is important to you before I talk to you about what I have to give you.
Yeah.
There's a big, as you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff we could offer. So
Well, I think that speaks to your awareness as a human. And I don't just see that with you and your clients. I see that in how you interact with the entire team here at Demand AI. You're a really selfless person. You typically go out of your way to help other folks, whether it's a customer experience situation, a sales situation, an operation situation. And there's no quid pro quo for you. It is just, how can I help the team and our customers
Right.
achieve their goals faster? So that comes through, I think, as I see you navigate every aspect of working in this company, which is really cool. So it's your birthday today, but you're across the country from your two kids and your husband. Tell us about them. Your daughter is a dancer. I know that.
she's actually a first year teaching. But she is, I admire her so much for what she brings to the world, kind of what you just said, like the energy. And we talked a lot about this. I think I will right back at you. I think you put a lot of the energy, into the team and treat people the way that, they should be in the way that makes the world better. But I think that, my daughter's her first year teaching middle school, which is a challenge. And she just, I think, brings so much to those kids, My son is just this creative, he plays guitar, he's studying graphic design and just has so much creativity.
Renaissance man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a little bit of everything. But they're also like, I feel like as they've grown, have got great relationships. You have little ones. And I always say like, it goes by fast. I mean, it just goes by in a blink of an eye.
It does.
So it's, it's a Tuesday. Everyone's like, oh my God, you're at a conference on your birthday. And I'm like, but it's a Tuesday. I would be working from home. I'm actually really excited to be here meeting, some of our colleagues for the first time in person.
Yeah.
Seeing old colleagues around the show floor as we all do. And also meeting up with customers. It's actually been a really nice lunch today. Great,
Yeah.
great opportunity, to have some face time with people, which is always great.
There's one guarantee every year, and that's that B2BMX is a family reunion.
100%.
Not many of us end up leaving this vertical,
The
this space.
ecosystem.
Yeah, we all seem to hang around quite a bit. Well, it was great speaking with you. We've got a dinner tonight.
Yeah.
Where we will celebrate you even more. And we'll close out tomorrow morning. I think that's it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, and to another great year.
Cheers.
Good morning, guys. Day 3, the last day from B2BMX in Carlsbad. Tommy Heffernan here with Demand AI. We're just at the booth. Let's take a walk around and see what's going on this morning. Typically speaking, Wednesday mornings are a really slow morning. The first session doesn't start until 11, and I think that's by design because Tuesday nights is the big night here. Most companies are having their customer and prospect dinners. Some of them are having team dinners before everyone flies out later. And a byproduct of that is usually a couple of hangovers here and there. However, I have to come clean because I didn't drink last night, but I did oversleep. And that's a bad look, but I needed it. I really needed it. So, you know, I've been on the road a lot, and you got to recharge the battery. So this is a reminder to everyone to really be kind to yourself.
We have two special guests this afternoon. Kevin O'Malley and Patrick Shea, co-founders of Adaptive Intelligence. Hey guys, how are we doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, of course. So a little backstory, and I think it's perfect. Well, I've only known Kevin for 6 months or something like that, and Patrick 6 minutes. We've talked briefly about the inflection point I think we're all at right now, but specifically as it pertains to the collision of bad tech and martechs and how that is really messing up right now.
Kind of as you mentioned, so we work with a lot of different agencies and other partners. In a way, we're working behind the scenes, almost like a voice media platform. And for years, brands were the marketing for agencies. So trying to become the companies that are select. So the suck, as we've continued to kind of build our solutions, a lot of them have been more brand focused versus agency focused, because the brands are only just interested in the data, in the technology, owning that piece of the puzzle. So I think AI has certainly changed things. So it makes working with a solution like ours or other solutions a lot easier and allows the marketers to do more. So
Yeah, that's what we talked about, I think, what is now all of our new best friend. But this kind of relates into something that you said about, right? That is seeing the technology completely way ahead of something that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the phrase that I keep hearing and using is the future's here. It's just not distributed equally. And I think that when we look back over the last few years, there were a lot of different pockets that could start finding purchase and value in some of the low-hanging fruit using some AI tools. But for a large section of the market, it was an interesting novelty that had a lot of promise and a lot of potential. And we've had some great speakers here this week that are talking about the average number of hours that a ChatGPT user has per week. So there's clearly kind of a power user group and the more casual group. And we're starting to see that sort of shift. And even over the last 3 to 6 months, the rapid advancements of models that are coming out and the capabilities that they can do have led to just huge orders of magnitude changes from people and contributors across our own teams who have been trying and playing and using some of the tools available that have really enabled themselves to kind of have their own coding teams themselves. And the barrier to building software, it feels like over the last 3 to 6 months has almost completely abandoned. There are still things to do. There's a lot more to go there, but maybe 70 to 80% of the work that 6 months ago you would have to do is now a lot easier for a complete layman to. I think that opens up a lot of different opportunities, and that enters us into a world where it does kind of touch on the agency and brand relationship as well, because agencies that are able to deliver value are keeping all of those sorts of things in mind. And one of the reasons that's driving some of the brand in-housing is the ability to finally use some of this data that is all just scattered throughout their marketing staffs. We talk about how there's some just absolute cutting edge brands that are doing everything right. And then there's a lot of other brands that have priorities that are in different areas. They might have multiple CRMs, multiple different data systems, and then trying to twitch all that together is hard to kind of get any usefulness out of it. So we see this, obviously there's going to be incentive for that to change. There's pressure for everybody to start making more sense out of it because now there's a lot of value there. And so that's why we see the brands that are successfully in-housing are taking advantage of these trends, these tools, building maybe some of their own internal stuff, but they're using the data that their ad campaigns generate and that their own marketing stack generates to make this kind of full circle, systematic approach as opposed to purchasing a service from an agency, which is maybe the way it used to
Has historically been changed. Kevin, they're hotly, these data. Okay.
data is still, the AI is only as good as the data you put in. So that data typically lives with the brands. So as Patrick mentioned, it's coming out of their marketing systems. It's coming from their campaigns, right? So they are the owners of it. It makes sense for them to.
All right. Last question. Matt, you brought up the AI topic, so I'm going to come to you. There's a lot of discussion as practitioners and employees in general are actually fully embraced. I've also heard assertions that those who don't use it are going to actually find troubled bodies. And it appears that the message from both doing this study was use AI to find somebody else who does, right? What's your sense?
I think all of those are true, and I think there's probably pockets of truth in both of them. Generally, the way that I would approach it is don't use AI, meet your goals. AI is a tool that's to help you meet your goals. If you're a marketer, if you're a salesperson, if you're creative, if you're in product, you have a job to deliver, you have outputs that you need to make them. And if AI can help you make them better, you would be foolish to not take advantage of every tool you could possibly do to deliver more value in your work. And then if you're a leader, you kind of want to decide, am I trying to do the same thing and lower my labor costs? Or as you've heard a phrase today, or am I trying to do more with what I already have? I think that you can look at AI as sort of like this. It is a robot. We put it in the corner and we let it do robot things. Or you can look at it as more of like an exoskeleton. We wrap it on top of our existing humans, and now they can do better than what either one of them could on their own. That's been the approach that we've taken so far, and the way that history has led us to this point shows that that's still correct. But stuff's moving really fast. So if the future maintains that pattern, still yet to be seen. It seems like we're getting closer and closer, and I wonder if this is an asymptotic line where every year we're going to get halfway closer to the goal, but if you only go halfway every time, you never fully get there. It also is really going to come down. It's going to eventually be a semantic argument. What do you want to call singularity? What does somebody else want to call a singularity? I'm sure many people would happily talk about that iteration that you just mentioned. It's not that different. Like we're arguing matters of degrees, but if we have self-improving, self-iterating software, you're getting close enough that the point of the discussion is at.
In 6 months, it will be 50% faster.
Yeah. All right. Two Boston guys, Adaptive Intelligence, Kevin O'Malley, Pat Davidson. Well,
Thank you for having us.
So last couple hours here, and we're going to soak up as much as we can. We're looking forward to the last couple conversations with customers as they go around and tap the last booths that they haven't been able to tap and get as much info as they can before they head to the airport.